This is Kelly and Brian and Charlie and Kurt. An extraordinary story, one that makes me so proud to live in Nevada. Extraordinary human beings that adopted these two young men so they wouldn't be separated at birth. Wait to hear their story.
When we met, it was in '07. We both had just gotten out of marriages, and I had two children, Gunnar and Harley. They were 14 and 15, and Brian had two from his previous marriage.
At that time they were 5 and
Madison was turning 2.
2. And then they actually weren't really quick between us. We were married and together within
A year?
a year, and I adopted her 2 kids. Their dad didn't want anything to do with them.
And then we got married and decided we wanted to have kids together to add to our already happy family, and so we started the adoption process, which took a very long time.
Yeah, it took about a year just to do the beginning paperwork, and then from there was about another year
Yep. To get the
to
phone
get
call.
the phone call.
We actually got the phone call 2 days before our second oldest son was getting married, that they had newborn twins, and they knew we only went into it wanting one, but they were going to separate them, and we weren't going to let that happen. So we took them both.
We knew that the mother was drugs and alcohol, was addicted to drugs and alcohol, and we didn't really know at the time what was going to come from the medical side of it and what problems they were going to have. But it was one of my best days, was getting them. I wouldn't change it for anything.
No. Walking in the hospital room, and the nurses looked at everybody and went, "Oh, look, your mommy and daddy are here." And we just knew immediately that those were our boys. And we knew there were going to be issues. We just didn't know to what extent. But even if we had, it wouldn't have changed anything. They were ours, and that was that.
We spent a month with them in the NICU. They were going through their withdrawals and stuff from the methamphetamines and stuff, and
Feeding tubes,
they feeding tubes in them, and
heart monitors.
I wouldn't have changed any of it. That month was one of the greatest months. But yeah, I wouldn't change anything.
Then we got to go home. That's when the wild rides really started, is when we got to go home. Because then we really started all their therapies and going back and forth to UCSF and doctor's appointments and specialists. And as they got older is when we realized that we were looking at more and more issues, and our road was going to be long and hard.
It started hectic. We were driving 3 hours at a time to take them to UCSF, and we were doing that probably 3-4 times a month, if not more.
We went almost 2 weeks, and I'm not kidding when I say we went almost 2 weeks with no sleep, because their little bodies couldn't rest, and so they wouldn't sleep. And if they didn't sleep, Mommy and Daddy didn't sleep. Yeah, because of all the methamphetamines and things that she had done. But then our adoption went through. Our adoption day, our forever family day, is March 12th. And then we decided to move to Reno to be closer to my mom and my grandma. And Brian's mom and dad moved with us. And since we've been here, the boys have gotten an unbelievable amount of care, from their different doctors to the early interventions to different organizations that have helped us along the way. And Reno is actually where we have found out all of their medical needs, and the list is long. So
we found out so much more since we got here. To
to name a few.
Yeah,
They're both autistic. They both have cortical visual impairment. They both have global developmental delays, severe processing disorder, horrible feeding issues. We just found out actually on their birthday that they have to have feeding tubes. They have agenesis of the corpus callosum. They cannot diagnose them yet with fetal alcohol syndrome until they're 7, but there's a good chance that they have some form of that. They are at risk for aspirating on fluids and food, and they're strong little boys.
yeah.
They've been through a lot in their short little 3 years, but they're strong. So with any family, you'll do whatever you can and whatever you have to provide for your children. And Brian is a combat veteran who was in Iraq and was shot 7 times. And so he's on disability, and our income and our resources are limited. And there became a need that we needed special formula for the kids. And it was very expensive, and we couldn't afford it, and the insurance wouldn't pay for it. And we were put in touch with the 4Kids Foundation. And without hesitation, they helped us. They were amazing. We were never made to feel like we were any less of a person for asking for help. Because I know that most people are like Brian and I, and we don't like to ask for help. But there comes a time where you have to at some point. But they were awesome.
They didn't make us feel. I was afraid they were gonna make me feel real low, and like I couldn't support my kids. And they opened their arms and they were just, here, what do you need? And I couldn't ask for anything more from anybody. And it was.
I think we filled out our paperwork. And the next day, we got the phone call. Okay, meet us at Sam's Club at this time. And we got there, and she's like, okay, tell me what you need. It's yours. And then she took us over to Babies R Us, and they got them each a stroller. And I don't know if she was having more fun or if we were having more fun. She was shopping. It was really cute. But she made sure we had everything we needed. And I think the most important thing is that never once were we made to feel like bad parents because we couldn't support our kids, or that we needed help, or that we had done something wrong that put us in that position that we needed to ask for help, which was really important to us because it is hard to ask for help.
Yeah.
Especially when it's for your own kids.
Kelly and Brian, thank you for being the people that you are, the family that you are, and taking your time to share your story with our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.